Coco Anetor-Sokei is a media professional who is passionate about telling stories through visual media and skilled at leveraging digital communities to boost brand awareness and build loyalty. When she isn't working, she is binging on Netflix shows while wolfing down dried fruits or getting life and Indian drama updates from her daughter. Please welcome Coco Anetor-Sokei for this professional workshop titled The Dangers of Self-Editing.
Hi, my name is Coco Anetor-Sokei. Today I will be speaking on the dangers of self-editing. So, if you're a writer, this story may be a bit familiar to you. You've spent months working on your book. You've read it over and over and over again. You've gone through every line. You've spent weeks carefully crafting every sentence, putting your paragraphs together, and then you're done with your manuscript. And then you send it to maybe family and friends. You send it to beta readers to read through your work, and then they come back to you like, oh, here are some mistakes we've spotted in your work, which is all fine and good. You rewrite, you go through your manuscripts again, you reword everything, fix all the errors. Fine, you take it back, you go through it one more time, reread it over and over, rewrite, restructure the sentences, correct those errors, and you've fixed it. You fixed your work to the best of your abilities. Now, this is the stage where some people may realize, oh, maybe I should share this with an editor. And that's the right move. You should share your work with an editor because, okay, you know what, let's not skip ahead. Share your work with an editor. So you go ahead and send your work to an editor. And your editor comes back, they send you that email, the first few paragraphs, great compliments. Oh, this is a really good story. I really enjoyed reading it. I like the direction you're going, etc, etc. And you're like, yeah, this is good. My work is good. Your confidence is boosted. Your assurance is assured, for lack of a better word. And the email goes on to say they've made a few notes. And then you open what they've sent back, and you're suddenly blinded by a full page of red. I've been there. I know. It's not a good feeling because this email just took you from not feeling so sure about your work to feeling like, yeah, I actually did decent work. And you open it and they're just red marks everywhere. At this point, you're going through a bunch of emotions. Usually you're like, wow, so where did I go wrong? What did I do right? Everything here is marked with some sort of revision or correction. So how much of my work, my original work, is going to be left when I make all these changes? Maybe this editor doesn't know what you're doing. Maybe this editor is out to get me. Maybe this editor is biased or doesn't like my work or doesn't really know what you're doing. Do I know what I'm doing? And these are all, it's normal. It's a normal phase that we all go through. It's a normal thought process, especially when it's your first time. So, accept these feelings, deal with them, get to a place where you need to get to for you to move forward with your work, because believe it or not, no editor is out to get you. It's just, there are a few mistakes you can make and a few things you can gloss over when you're self-editing. And the major thing is you're too familiar with the work. It's your work. This is your story. This is your baby, essentially. And I don't think there's any parent out there who feels that someone else knows their child more than they do. This is a very common feeling, but it's also the major reason why self-editing is not a great idea. I'll break it down. The greatest reason why self-editing is not a great idea is that you're too familiar with the work. You're not going to be able to take the time needed to read through your manuscript and point out every flaw, every error. You won't even see it if we're being honest, because in your eyes, this is your work. And now, so I'm going to break this down into 3 things. The first thing is that you're not going to see words that may have been omitted. You can run your manuscript through spell check, and yeah, it will point out some of the errors. It will show you when you've repeated a word, but if a word, it cannot show you what is wrong with a word that you've omitted, essentially. And when you're reading it, you're not going to know all the time that that word is missing, because your brain knows what is supposed to be there, right? And so that's the first thing. You omit a lot of words. Secondly, you know what you mean. You can have something like, Ade climbed the horse. He looked back. Who looks back? Ade or the horse? Now, you can assume your readers know what you're talking about because you know what you're talking about. But then, is that really an assumption you want to make? And then, because you're so familiar with the story, you know the story inside and out, 2 things can happen. You can either over-explain and spend like a whole paragraph explaining a scene because you want people to see what is in your head. You want people to see the story the way you see it, and then that just leads to run-on sentences, over-explanation, just a lot of things that your reader really doesn't want. Secondly, which is kind of the opposite of over-explaining, is not explaining enough, because you know what you want to say, and again, you're going to make an assumption that your readers know what you're talking about. Now, that's just like the basis of the mistakes that can be made when you're self-editing. I've tried my best to condense the mistakes you can make while self-editing into this very simple points. But other mistakes you can make are syntax, your plot, your structure, your characters. You can even make mistakes with your characters if you're not being careful. And so this leads us to, what does an editor do for you? So what can an editor do for you? The first thing to keep in mind is an editor's primary job is to upgrade your manuscript. You have to take your manuscript from what it is, which is essentially a rough draft, and develop it into something publishable. They do this in 2 ways. First of all, spotting and fixing errors. Secondly, helping with developments. Now, when an editor first reads through your scripts, they have no expectations. It's like a mechanical process. They are reading with a goal in mind. They are reading to find the errors, to make revisions or suggestions, and to correct your errors. That is the fixing errors. That's the first point. So this happens either in copy editing or in proofreading. Actually, it happens in both, to be honest, but it depends on which phase you decide to get an editor involved. Development. Now, this is the details of your story, the plot, the structure, your character development. This is what developmental editing does for your work. It takes your drafts and builds it into a coherent story. It makes it make sense, not just to you, but to your readers as well, which at the end of the day is the reason why you're writing your book, isn't it? I highly recommend you get an editor. If not to work through these 3 phases of editing, you can either get one involved in the copy editing, in the developmental editing, or in the proofreading stage. I recommend all, but that's completely up to you and what you want out of your manuscript and your story. Now, of course, there are so many assumptions about why you don't need an editor, most of all being that, oh, they're too pricey, or they're not going to do the edits you want, or they're going to take you out of your book. Fine and good. If you insist that you must self-edit, here are a few things you should keep in mind. First of all, avoid fancy words. The temptation to show people that we know English is high. I get it. You want people to know you went to school. You want people to know you know book, right? That's great. But if you can say Ada was confused, there's really no reason to say Ada was fallen or discombobulated, or like, we get it, you know English, but what if your reader doesn't, right? These are things you should keep in mind. Keep it as simple as possible. You don't get extra points for using Scrabble words in your book. Second thing is, adverbs are lazy. You know, when you say, oh, she quietly walked up the stairs, he distraughtly fainted, he gasped surprisingly. We don't really need all of that. You use words. Like I said, keep it simple. The simpler, the better. No one really, do you know anybody who screamed distraughtingly in real life? Thirdly, for spotting errors and fixing them. When spotting and fixing errors, you spell check, find, and replace. These are tools you can find in Microsoft Word. They make it a lot easier. Later on, I'll also be sharing some tools you can use outside of Microsoft Word to help you be better with your editing. So this is an addition to using adverbs. Avoid ridiculous emotions. All those over-explainers or modifiers are not really necessary. You know, this brings us back to the she sighed in exasperation. Why else would someone sigh? Right? Always favor the active voice instead of the passive voice. It gives more urgency to the story that you're telling. For example, instead of saying the car was knocked over the bridge and the door flung open, you can say the car was damaged in the accident. Simple, short, straight to the point, gets the message across. So some editing and writing tools you can use to improve your work. I personally use Grammarly a lot. I have the add-on on my Google taskbar because it helps you spot errors as you write. If you're not writing in Microsoft Word, sometimes I write on Google Docs. So while I'm writing there, it helps me spot and immediately fix errors. Depending on the plan you pay for, you can also pick what you want your tool, your Grammarly, to look out for while you write. So it helps me with syntax, it helps me with tone, etc, etc. There's Canva you can use for design and laying out your work. There's Evernote, which can help you set out tasks. It can help you. Evernote is essentially where you can lay out your thoughts for your book. So that's where you can write your chapter synopsis. It can be where you design the outline for your book. It's basically your task board, but also your design board. There's Myla Notes, which is good for helping you keep track of your characters, designing and keeping track of your characters and all that. There's Todoist, which is to help you track your work. You can set task lists for yourself and deadlines with Todoist. So you have your reminders to let you know, oh, write 2 chapters today, or include this. Like maybe you're on the road and you remember something, you can quickly impute that in your Todoist so that when you get home or when you're working on your manuscript, it reminds you to include whatever you remembered. There's Hemingway, which kind of works like Grammarly, but I personally don't use that as much, so I'm not exactly sure of all the features. I just know it works kind of like Grammarly. Where can you find, so you want to get an editor, where can you find an editor? Simple, Kachifo. Needless to say, Kachifo has some really good editors, if I do say so myself, and I do. So you can always reach out to Kachifo to get an editor for your work. If you decide not to go the Kachifo route for whatever reason, you can ask your author friends or your family friends. If you're writing a book, you probably know one or two other people who have written books as well. Ask them who did their editing, or if they know of any editors that they can recommend. Thirdly, you can do a web search. You can search Google to find editors around you, or you can go on Twitter, or Facebook, or Instagram and be like, hey, I'm looking for an editor. Can you send me your rate cards or your, portfolios and stuff like that? But yes, I hope I've been able to convince you that self-editing may seem like the simplest and easiest way to go, but it's not always the best. I wish you all the best in your writing endeavors, and I cannot wait to see the amazing work you put out in the future. Once again, my name is Coco Anetor-Sokei. It was great doing this with you. Have a blessed day.